Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says 90% of a deal for securing Gaza ceasefire is ready, puts onus on Israel and Hamas to iron out differences on remaining issues. Hunter Biden makes last-minute guilty plea to avoid tax trial months after his gun conviction. U.S. President Joe Biden avoids any remarks. U.S. bolsters support against gang violence in Haiti. Announces humanitarian aid, urges Haiti to organize elections next year. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first man to score 900 career goals, reaches the milestone in Portugal's UEFA Nations League match against Croatia. EU Climate Monitor concludes that the 2024 summer saw the highest global temperatures ever recorded. World experienced the hottest months of June and August ever, making it the hottest year till now. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Thursday urged both Israel and Hamas to finalize a Gaza truce, standing by U.S. assessment that 90% of a deal was ready. At a press briefing in Haiti, Blinken said that the United States would be offering further ideas in the coming days through mediators, Egypt and Qatar, in hopes of sealing an agreement. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in an interview with Fox News on Thursday, denied a U.S. official's assessment that 90% of a deal was ready, saying it's not close.
It seems to me that it's really incumbent on both parties to get to yes on these remaining issues.
Protesters in Tel Aviv gathered for a fifth consecutive night on Thursday, demanding an immediate hostage deal. Protesters set off flares on a road they blocked in Tel Aviv, calling on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do more to bring home the remaining hostages in Gaza. Thousands of demonstrators have taken to the streets since Sunday after the bodies of 6 hostages were recovered from a tunnel in Gaza, where they were apparently killed shortly before its troops reached them. Hunter Biden, son of U.S. President Joe Biden, pleaded guilty to federal tax charges in a surprise move before the U.S. presidential election. Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty to all the 9 charges in his federal tax evasion case, catching federal prosecutors off guard as they prepared to begin his trial on Thursday. Hunter Biden had previously denied allegations that he intentionally avoided paying $1.4 million in income tax from 2016 to 19. Judge Mark Scarsi said that in the pleading guilty, Biden faced a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison and fines ranging from $500,000 to $1 million. He is due to be sentenced on 16 December. U.S. President Joe Biden makes no public statements after his son Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to federal tax charges. President Biden has previously said that he would not use his executive power to pardon his son. Georgia state officials have arrested the father of the high school shooting suspect in connection with Wednesday's shooting that left 4 people dead. Suspect's father was charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. The suspect has been charged with 4 counts of felony murder and would be tried as an adult. Both had been questioned by local officials last year in connection with an online threat to commit a school shooting, but there is no probable cause for their arrest. Investigators are yet to comment on what may have motivated the first U.S. campus mass shooting since the start of the school year. U.S. President Joe Biden expressed grief over the school shooting. Biden commended the swift action of the school personnel and first responders and called for urgent legislative action, including a ban on assault weapons and universal background checks.
Got to hold parents accountable if they let their child have access to these guns. Let's enact universal background checks, and then immunity for gun manufacturers. And I realize I'm in a rural area like the rural parts of my state where guns, we all have them. And it's not popular to talk about it, but the truth is there's a difference between rational and irrational. Imagine, the only outfit in the world that we can't sue and by law, passed by law, are gun manufacturers.
As November 5th is approaching close, campaign for U.S. election is witnessing series of commitments and promises by the candidates. Republican U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump vows to turn the United States into cryptocurrency capital of the world. His Democratic rival promised an end to gun violence. Trump on Thursday was speaking at the Economic Club of New York. While unveiling his economic vision for post-2024 USA, he tried to assure new age investors. He vowed to make USA the capital of crypto and Bitcoin trade. He said that he will create an efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government.
And instead of attacking industries of the future, we will embrace them, including making America the world capital for crypto and Bitcoin. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations.
A day earlier, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris responded to a Wednesday morning shooting at the high school in Winder by saying that it is time to end this epidemic of gun violence while she was campaigning in Northampton and Maryland. She promised end of gun violence once she becomes the president.
It's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
Amidst international interest growing regarding U.S. presidential elections, a surprise support for Kamala Harris came from a controversial quarter, and Donald Trump is confused whether it is good for him. Speaking in Vladivostok Eastern Economic Forum, it was none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin who made an open support to Kamala Harris by saying that Trump had put most of the sanctions on Russia when he was the president of the U.S. He asked his supporters in the U.S. to vote for Harris. Putin also praised body language of Kamala Harris, saying that she has an infectious laugh.
As for the favorites, it is not for us to determine that. It is, after all, the choice of the American people. I have already said the favorite, if I may say so, was the acting president, Mr. Biden. But he has withdrawn from the race, but he recommended that all his supporters back Mrs. Harris. So we will do the same. We will support her. She has such an expressive and infectious laugh. It shows she's doing well. Trump, he's imposed more restrictions and sanctions on Russia than any president has ever imposed before.
However, it did not amuse the Republican candidate and Putin's former counterpart in the U.S., Donald Trump, sounding a bit disappointing at the time when every vote counts in America for the presidential neck-to-neck fight. Trump said that he was surprised and he did not know how to react.
Today he endorsed Kamala, and I didn't know, was I supposed to call him up and say, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But he endorsed Kamala. I have a feeling, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to say about that. I don't know if I'm insulted or he did me a favor.
All right, let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky demanded quick results from his new top team after the biggest government reshuffle since 2022. Zelensky replaced a string of ministers in a shakeup that sources suggested was a bid for his office to exert more control over the host of issues related to the war, with Ukraine facing major challenges on the battlefield in the east. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said that he wanted the government to be more active in dealing with Ukraine's Western allies and investors and in helping troops at the front. He called on his new team to deliver more investment into Ukraine's arms sector, advance negotiations on Ukraine's EU membership bid, work to secure Ukraine's financial stability and deliver more support for the front line. In a significant development in the conflict, Ukraine's top military commander, Alexander Syrsky, revealed in a recent interview that Kyiv's incursion into Russia's southern Kursk region has proven to be a tactical success. He stated that Russian forces have been unable to make any advances in the key Pokrovsk sector for 6 consecutive days. His remarks contradict Russian President Putin's claim that the incursion had no effect on Moscow's operations. The Ukrainian commander highlighted that the incursion has not only boosted military morale, but also significantly reduced shelling and fighting intensity in eastern Ukraine. This strategic shift has disrupted Russian maneuvers and reinforcements, signaling a potential turning point in the conflict. Poland has backed away from claims that a drone likely breached its airspace during a Russian attack on Ukraine in August. After 10 days of intense analysis and a fruitless search, military officials now say that they believe no such incursion took place on August 26th. The initial radar detection of a possible drone had sparked alarm in the NATO member country, raising concerns over airspace security. General Mieczysław, head of the Polish Army's Operational Command, stated that it's now highly probable that no violation actually occurred. However, he warned that the risk of future airspace breaches remains high as Russian attacks on Ukraine continue. Poland remains vigilant amid growing fears of spillover from the ongoing conflict. The Biden administration is in urgent talks with Congress to use up the $6 billion in military aid for Ukraine before it expires on September 30th. The funds are part of a $61 billion package passed in April under the Presidential Drawdown Authority, which allows emergency transfers of U.S. defense supplies. However, of the $7.8 billion allocated, only a fraction has been used, leaving $6 billion at risk. With the fiscal year ending soon, officials are pushing to extend the PDA through a continuing resolution, a critical spending bill needed to prevent a government shutdown. Both Democratic and Republican lawmakers, who have backed $175 billion in Ukraine aid since 2022, are emphasizing the need for continued support as the deadline looms. The British government said on Friday that it would provide Ukraine with 650 lightweight multi-role missiles worth £162 million to help protect the country from Russian drones and bombing. The Ministry of Defense said, in keeping with the new government's commitment to speed up deliveries of aid to Ukraine, the first batch of missiles announced on Friday were expected to arrive by the end of the year. In a horrific incident, 17 students lost their lives in a school fire in central Kenya on Friday, while 14 others were injured. Rescue operations are underway at the hillside Doordarshan Academy in Nyeri, where the fire broke out. Now, according to police spokesperson, the students were burned beyond recognition. Earlier in a similar incident, 9 students were killed in September 2017 in a fire at a school in the capital, Nairobi. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called for renewing a United Nations mandate for an international security mission to help Haiti fight armed gangs. Blinken met with Haitian Prime Minister Gary Conille and the head of its presidential council, Edgar Leblanc-Fels, during his visit. He also announced a further $45 million in humanitarian aid for Haiti. Blinken said he planned to convene a ministerial meeting at the UN General Assembly this month to encourage more financial contribution as well as to renew the mission's mandate.
To be renewed, and that's what we're working on right now. But we also want to make sure that we have something that is reliable, that's sustainable, and we'll look at every option to do that. So a peacekeeping operation would be one such option. I think there are others. The United States is also committed to using this foundation of security to support and unlock the potential of the Haitian people. We're the largest contributor of humanitarian assistance to Haiti. That includes an additional $45 million in humanitarian aid that I'm announcing today, bringing the total U.S. aid to over $210 million this year.
Meanwhile, Haiti has expanded its state of emergency to cover the entire nation's territory. The day before, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Haitian authorities in the island. Prime Minister Gary Conille on Wednesday expanded a state of emergency to cover the entire nation. Kenyan police officers who are part of a UN-backed security mission began arriving in Haiti in June. The state of emergency was repeatedly renewed and other departments were later added. The U.S. is the largest funder of a UN-backed security mission that Henry requested in 2022 to help fight the gangs and reclaim territory. A missing 3-year-old boy was found in the middle of a cornfield in Wisconsin. Police officers cleverly used a drone and thermal technology to locate him among the 6-foot-tall stalks. The child was found uninjured and safely reunited with the parents. According to local media, the parents reported their child missing, believing that the child had walked into the cornfield behind their house on Marshview Road on August 25th. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida arrived in South Korea on Friday for a 2-day visit, seeking to seal a newfound partnership between the neighbors, which will be tested by imminent changes of leaders in Tokyo and Washington. Applauded by U.S. President Joe Biden, Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol have reversed a decades-long slump in diplomatic and trade relations, originally marred by Japan's occupation of Korea from 1910 to 1945. On his farewell visit, Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will discuss enhancing cooperation amid historical tensions and leadership changes in Tokyo and Washington. South Korean activists held a rally on Friday in Seoul to protest a visit by Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Around 20 activists gathered in front of South Korea's presidential office, holding up signs containing messages about disputes overshadowing relations between South Korea and Japan. Japanese retail giant Seven and I Holdings had rejected Canada's alimentation Todd's $38.5 billion cash bid for the company because the proposal was not in interest of the shareholders. The operator of the 7-Eleven convenience store chain, which received a takeover proposal from Todd, said that it was open to sincerely consider any proposals. Japanese retail giant will ask Todd to reconsider its takeover bid, although the company does not reject the offer and will continue to talk with the suitor. News of the largest foreign takeover of a Japanese company pushed Seven and I shares up almost 23% on August 19. Telegram founder and chief executive Pavel Durov hit out at France for arresting him and charging him last month over the publication of extremist and illegal content on the popular messaging app. In a post on Telegram, Durov said that it was surprising that he was being held responsible for other people's content. He said that using laws from the pre-smartphone era to charge a CEO with crimes committed by third parties on the platform he manages is a misguided approach. He denied accusations from France and Paris, from France, that Paris had not received responses from Telegram to its requests. Durov was charged on several counts of failing to curb extremist and illegal content on Telegram. He was subsequently granted conditional release on a bail of €5 million. The 2024 northern summer saw the highest global temperatures ever recorded, beating last year's record and making this year likely to be Earth's hottest ever. The data from Copernicus Climate Change Service followed a season of heat waves around the world that scientists said were intensified by human-driven climate change. The June and August global temperature broke through the level of 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average, a key threshold for limiting the worst effects of climate change. Human-caused greenhouse gas emissions are warming the planet, raising the likelihood and intensity of climate disasters such as droughts, fire, and floods. Hollywood actor Ben Stiller said that he was thrilled that his latest drama comedy, Nutcrackers, was chosen to open the Toronto Film Festival, with the film also making its debut at the 10-day film event. Nutcrackers tells the heartwarming story of hotshot Chicago real estate developer who was forced to care for his orphaned nephews in a small Ohio town after his sister and her husband have a terrible accident. Unlike a traditional movie release, Nutcrackers made its debut at the Toronto International Film Festival without launching teasers or previews. The 49th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival kicked off on Thursday, with Hollywood stars making a comeback on the red carpet after last year's screenwriters' strike.
This is the first audience, and to be here on opening night, to be a part of this festival, which is, kind of an iconic film festival, was, for me, I never really imagined it when we were making the movie, because we made it in this little farmhouse, very small budget, just us and the kids and the animals, and hoping that, we would figure out a place that people would see it, and then to have opening night here is just unexpected.
You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. But after the break, Home Minister Amit Shah to visit Jammu and Kashmir to launch BJP's poll campaign and release the party's manifesto.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. With an aim to fulfill resolve of making water conservation a national priority, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the program marking the launch of Jal Sanchay Jan Bhagidari initiative at Surat, Gujarat through video conferencing on Friday. The initiative seeks to conserve water with strong emphasis on community partnership and ownership, and is driven by a whole of society and whole of government approach. Under this program, approximately 24,800 rainwater harvesting structures across the state are being constructed with community partnership. These recharge structures will be instrumental in enhancing rainwater harvesting and ensuring long-term water sustainability. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with teachers on the occasion of Teachers' Day. India's President Draupadi Murmu awarded more than 80 teachers for their extraordinary contribution in the field of education on the occasion of National Teachers' Day. 50 teachers from primary and secondary schools across the country were awarded by President Draupadi Murmu in the national capital. 82 teachers were also awarded from different universities and colleges across India for their contribution towards innovation and nation building. Teachers' Day is celebrated in India on 5th of September every year to mark the birth anniversary of the first president of the country, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. India's Union Minister Amit Shah will visit Jammu and Kashmir on Friday ahead of the assembly elections. Shah is scheduled to launch Bharatiya Janata Party's poll campaign and release the party's manifesto during his two-day visit. Prior to his visit, Amit Shah took to X and said, and I quote him, "Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing a new era of peace and development under the Modi government. The region has transformed from a terrorist hotspot into a tourist hotspot with an increase in educational and economic activities." The assembly election will be held in the region in 3 phases on September 18th, 25th and 1st October, whereas the results will be declared on October 8th. And also, the Indian Met Department has issued heavy rainfall alert for several regions, including Gujarat, Vidarbha, Eastern Rajasthan and Western Madhya Pradesh. Additionally, the IMD has placed Rajasthan, Punjab, Delhi NCR, Karnataka, Kerala, Telangana, Western Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Northeastern India under a yellow alert, predicting heavy rainfall. Parts of the national capital received light to heavy rainfall on Friday. Now, according to the IMD, the minimum temperature was recorded 2.3 notches below normal. The mercury is expected to remain between 33 and 24 degrees Celsius. Heavy rainfall has also caused severe flooding in Andhra Pradesh, with roads and houses submerged. The continuous rain triggered by a land-based cyclone resulted in heavy precipitation, and that happened over just 24 hours. This extreme weather was fueled by moisture from the Arabian Sea and heat from the eastern parts of the country. The NDRF, along with central forces and local officials, is working to provide relief. India's Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan assured of safety and assistance to combat the extreme weather.
5 दिन से लोगों के घरों में अभी पानी है। हम जिस क्षेत्र में आए हुए हैं, बुढ़मेरू जो नहर थी उसके ब्रीच होने के कारण और ऐसी बारिश कभी 50 सालों में नहीं हुई और इसलिए केंद्र सरकार राज्य सरकार को पूरी मदद करेगी, सहयोग करेगी और केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार दोनों मिलकर जनता को इस संकट से बाहर निकालेंगे, संकट के पार ले जाएंगे।
Football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo scored the 900th goal of his illustrious career in Portugal's UEFA Nations League group stage match against Croatia on Thursday. Ronaldo secured the historic goal with a volley from 6 yards off a cross from Nuno Mendes to put Portugal 2-0 up in the 34th minute. Portugal went on to win 2-1. Ronaldo was also the first to break the 800-goal barrier, doing so in late 2021 while in his second stint with Manchester United. The 5-time Ballon d'Or winner is 41 goals ahead of his nearest challenger Lionel Messi, who is on 859. Meanwhile, Brazilian legend Pelé is third on the list with 765. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. And this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.